Right. Finally, after a fucking century of trying to get things done, internet not working, the computer deciding it was going to crash, the internet deciding that it was also going to crash, the fucking computer and the CPU not working properly and overheating, the microphone not working, and then just the world disintegrating. I think this is an amazing metaphor for May's fucking Brexit plan and possibly her leadership. So yes, I'm the Common Sense Guy. Welcome to the stream. We're here today with Jensen Quinn to have a good old laugh at May and the fact that she had to call a no confidence vote. Well, she got called a no confidence vote, should we say, because everybody hates her.
Very true.
If people are wondering why there's no sound on the video that I'm showing at this moment in time, is because it will overtake what's going on. So I'm just waiting for it to come up. Everybody can see what's going on. Everybody can see what's happening, so to speak. And as soon as it comes on properly, I will play it so everybody can hear. We will listen to what the actual vote is. Me and Jensen Quinn will have a little chat, find out what we think about it. Whatever way it goes, me personally, I think that it's actually going to... I think it's actually going to be May ousted. I really do, and I really hope so.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Oh, it looks like they're coming back quick. Quinn, what are you deciding?
I say we burn the bitch.
Right. Let's put the sound back on and let's listen. You have to pour some fucking water out, didn't you? Come on, you cunt. Let's get on with it. Stop with the suspense. Stop waving your eyebrows. Jensen, can you hear that properly, the laughing?
Yep, all clear.
Good, good. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes, let's find out.
Good evening, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank the officers of the 1922 Committee for their help, especially my two assistants, returning officers, named Cheryl Gillen and Charles Walker. The result of the ballot held this evening is that the Parliamentary Party does have confidence.
Oh, fuck. Motherfucker. She's still leader. She's still fucking leader. After all that.
Yeah. Yay.
All right, let's have a listen and let's see if we can find out how much the actual yes and no's are. See if the majority is small or short.
Yep.
Does have confidence in Theresa May as leader of the Conservative Party. The number of votes cast in favour of having confidence in Theresa May was 200, and against was 117. Under the rules set out in the Constitution of the Conservative Party, no further confidence vote can take place for at least 2 years.
Wow. That actually means that she has more confidence now, apparently, according to the Conservatives, more confidence now than what she did have when she was first elected leader. So I think there's something dodgy going on there, to be fair. What do you think, Mr. Quinn?
Yeah. I would say some sort of cover-up and getting echo back.
That better?
Yeah. Okay, good. No, this is bad. She is scum. She should be out. There is some sort of bloody cover-up. And did you notice how they made the point there can't be another vote against her for a while? They very specifically made that point.
Yeah, for 2 years. When she was first elected as leader of the Conservatives, she had 199 people that supported her. Now she has 200 people that supported her, even though that she has or had 48 letters put in for people not having any sort of confidence in her. 117 people decided that they weren't going to have a majority or like her anymore, so to speak. No confidence. There was a majority of, I believe, 86, 87 off top of the head. Can't really remember. But that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You have people that have put in their votes and everything else like that. And the thing is, for me, at least anyway, you've got all of the people that put in a vote, all of the Conservatives and Conservative supporters saying that they don't want Theresa May in power. The grassroots are saying that we don't want her in power. We don't like her. She's leading us astray. Even to the point of the Brexiteers and everybody else like that saying exactly the same thing. And that they come to have a vote of no confidence. It happens literally a day or two after it was finally called. It's not supposed to happen that quickly. Don't get me wrong, it can. Obviously, that's why it did. But it's not supposed to. It's supposed to happen a week after a vote's been called. It all seems very, very rushed, very, very quick. And it just seems that it's been passed for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. It really sounds to me like this is some sort of, I'm going to use the term cover up, even though obviously that's not fully the correct word, but it seems dodgy. Something, deals have been cut. That is what I'm reckoning anyway. What about you?
I would have to say, knowing the Conservatives' history and how they love to cover things up and hide things and keep hold of power, because I'm pretty sure that this isn't a case of the Conservatives actually having, should we say, happiness or should we say loyalty to Theresa May. I think it's a case of, I want to keep my car. I want to keep my house.
Yeah.
I think the deals have been done so that the actual parliamentarians or the ministers themselves actually keep their jobs.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's the whole reason why people have done, why she's done that, why she's made deals. It'd be interesting to see if there's any cabinet shuffles after this.
Yes. That's a good way to see who's getting the old pat on the head, wouldn't it?
Well, you would have to expect that there would be changes.
Yeah.
Maybe in the next month or so, there might be another cabinet reshuffle, or maybe straight after what they think is going to be the Brexit negotiation, even though Europe's already said that there ain't going to be no negotiation.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, we tried. The best I can really say to this, but we tried.
Well, I know for a fact that Jonker's already come out and said, so is Michel Barnier, and said there is no room for negotiation. We have set our red lines. We are not renegotiating. The deal that you have is the deal that you are keeping. It's your choice to keep it or not.
I'm good with no deal. Really am.
I'm good with no deal as well, to be fair. I think the scare tactic in which Theresa May used for today, because she come out and she did a speech, obviously, saying that she's determined to fight it and everything. I actually honestly think that the speech that she did, where she was stating that she's going to fight it tooth and nail, and actually after this term, she's no longer ever going to be leader again. I think with a conjunction of that, her saying that she's not going to be leader after this term, and the fact of her saying that if you get rid of me, there is no way of being able to get a new deal anyway, and there is no way of being able to get a renegotiations done. And in fact, the first thing for the new Prime Minister, if there is one, would be to try to extend or to rescind Article 50. And I think that scare tactic, as well as deals that are being struck by the Conservatives themselves or Theresa May's power-mad fucking government, is a case of they've now made those deals, made those structures. They've looked around and think, well, no, we can't do what we're actually asking, so we're going to have to stick with the sinking ship.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think anyway. Let us know in the chat what you guys think as well. Do you think this is absolutely shit? I know Mad Dodger's already given us a downvote, and I know it's not for me, it's for Theresa May, but either way, fuck you. Love you really, Guy. Love you really.
I think Sharati's got it right. It's Dodge's fault. He did it.
I'd probably have to agree with that. I would have to agree with that. I can see that B's put into the chat as well that, well, I'm happy, no more turmoil. Personally, I'd rather have the turmoil rather than just sitting there like a greased rat waiting for the ship to sink, because that's exactly what this government's doing. If everybody remembers how the Labour government with Tony Blair was before they were ousted, all the deals and all the confidence votes and all the idea of being able to nip, tuck, and dive when Gordon Brown was in power as well, this is similar to that structure. After the Conservatives lose the next election, and they will lose the next election, not because I guarantee it, but because, one, Corbyn's making so much more gains. But to be fair, will he be alive then? After all, he's 70, what, 3, 4? So that's another, what, 4 years, 22? 22, yeah, another 4 years.
Yeah.
So he'll be at least 77, 78 at that point. Wouldn't he have to be retired?
But then again, have you seen some of the people on there? They look like the living dead raised, don't they? Let's be fair.
Yeah, but that's the Lords, not the sitting bench. But either way, I honestly do feel that the Conservatives are going to turn into Labour. After this term, whether it ends very soon or whether it doesn't, I would like it to, but I don't think it will. It will come to the point, for me at least, where the Conservatives won't get in for at least 2 terms. This betrayal of the English people and democracy in itself. Now, this is me speaking as a Leaver, but even so, speaking as a Remainer or understanding Remain, this deal does not benefit anybody. It doesn't benefit Remain. It doesn't benefit Leavers. The only people it benefits is the EU. She is not negotiated on the terms for a good structured deal for the UK. She is making us a vassal state under the terms of what the EU wants us to be.
B's actually made a good point. She wants out of the EU in March. If Theresa was removed, it could have taken longer or worse, another public vote. She has a point, to be fair.
I'd rather have a public vote.
Really?
The reason why I would like to have another public vote is because I'm pretty sure public persuasion at the minute is around about 56 to 58%. From most polls and most things that I've interacted with, it's around 56 to 58. Because you have to remember, so many Leavers. Think of somebody like Piers Morgan, who was a staunch Remainer when he first started. Now, I don't like Piers Morgan. I think he's a cunt most of the time, but he does make some decent points. And the points that he makes is that anybody that is still supporting the EU after the way in which they have actually treated us is completely and utterly bullshit. And I think most sensible Remainers, not Ramonas, Remainers, would absolutely change their mind if there was a vote given tomorrow. Because they would have seen the way that the EU has treated us, and that would be enough for them to change their mind. The thing is with, we won't get out by the EU by March. We won't anyway. The deal that Theresa May has on the table now will not pass through government. The DUP will not sign off on it. Labour will not sign off on it. The Lib Dems will not sign off on it. And at least 117 of the Conservatives, as we saw today, will not sign off on it. She has not the majority to get that deal through. We will not be leaving in March, regardless.
Oh dear. Okay, I'm just going to go back to my standard comment when dealing with the EU. Hashtag nuke Paris.
Nuke Strasbourg.
Nuke both. I'm good.
Yeah, see, even Deadly Serious on the chat has said exactly the same as what I've said just before. The Tories have made themselves unelectable for the next election.
Yeah.
Completely and utterly true. Completely and utterly true. They are turning themselves into the new Labour of Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. They really are.
Yeah.
It is absolutely ridiculous And as we've all alluded to, and yes, it's probably a conspiracy theory, and yes, we're all annoyed, but fuck you. This is all done by deals and backhanded dealerships. I'm going to give you this if you give me that. And in the next government, we'll make sure you're this and we'll make sure you're that.
Yep. I completely agree, mate.
Unfortunately, I'm very annoyed. I'm very, very annoyed. I thought that we were going to have some sort of resemblance of democracy, but I'm actually going to start asking for a people's vote, I think.
Okay.
The reason why is because I will do anything now to bring this fucking government down.
Nice.
I don't give a shit. Even if it means I have to stay in the EU. Don't care.
Wow.
The reasons why, my friend, is why would we want to have a government and a democracy that isn't a democracy and isn't for the people and doesn't follow a direct mandate from the people? Why would we want them in charge? Why would we want them to have all the power to dictate to us what we can and cannot do? We might as well stick with the fucking EU.
Yeah, that's the problem. What you're saying makes sense, as disgusting as that is to actually have to say. Oh, God. It's the choice of the Conservatives of sticking it. Can't we just nuke everything, you know? Just crack the planet, get it over and done with.
Well, I think what we really need to do is, I was reading this a couple of bits before, is why don't we make a pact with the United States and become the 52nd state?
51st.
Whatever.
We want to get in there before Puerto Rico.
Oh, fuck it. Let's just be Puerto Rico. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have a shit economy, but at least they can tell themselves what they're doing and they're corrupt as fuck.
Yeah, fair play. Oh, well.
But that's the thing. That's the reason why I'm so annoyed, is simply because you had the process has been put into place. Because remember, the reason why the vote of no confidence wasn't just because the Conservatives had a lack of a following or understanding or whatever, confidence is the right word, in Theresa May. It was the people as well. But remember, the reason why the confidence vote happens is not just because of the Tory MPs, but because of the constituencies that the Tories actually hold that have lost confidence in Theresa May. You speak to anybody that is a Brexiteer or anybody that has any ounce of common sense, and they will tell you straight away that they do not trust Theresa May. She is lying through her fucking teeth every time that she opens her mouth. Yeah. And yet the Conservatives are backing her. That says more about the Conservatives than it does about Theresa May.
Unfortunately, you're right. Well, do you know what? Perhaps it's time that for the people themselves to actually grow a pair and cast down the goddamn government. We can do that shit. No, this is not a call to arms. You know, public service announcement. Don't blame CSG. This is me saying it. Deal with it.
Well, I'm going to say something completely different then, my friend. I'm not calling for arms, but I am calling for political unrest.
Yeah.
We now need to let the people. We now, as the people, need to let Theresa May and the Conservatives know that they are not doing what the people fucking want. And the only way of doing that is either signing a petition to get her the fuck out of here, or it's a case of marching on Westminster and telling her to fuck off.
Yeah.
I've also put a link out to the Hangouts in the chat. If anybody wants to come on, you are more than welcome to come on, but it will be to talk about this, nothing else. So everybody's more than welcome to come on, but it will be about this subject, nothing else. So, Quinn, where do we think that we go from here? Do we think that the government's going to get anything passed, or do we reckon that there's going to be more turmoil? Because I'm going to go for the latter.
I agree. This is going to... okay, it's going to make her supporters and the overall Ramona Brigade probably a little bit happier, but this is going to piss off a lot of people. And I am looking forward to the British finally standing up themselves again. It'd be nice anyway.
Yeah, see, the thing is with people like Tommy Robinson, and I'm pretty sure Nigel Farage says that if Brexit is fucked up, he's going to start up a new party and whatnot and go onto the streets and whatever. You've got Jared Batten as well that's going to be not doing the same thing as in starting a new party, but will be on the streets. You're going to have all most conservative political YouTubers that will be mobilizing their troops, so to speak, as well. I don't think that this is the end of it, but then again, we said that about Article 13. And yeah, that starts in January.
Of course it does, just in time.
That starts in January. And by the way, while we're using the backstop as part of her deal, guess what we have to do while we're still in that backstop?
Yeah, I think I'm getting subtle hints of exactly how bad it's going to be. Oh well, all I can say is a certain gentleman back in, I think it's like the 1500s, it would have been really nice if he hadn't been caught, wouldn't it?
Yeah, poor Guy Fawkes.
Yep.
But I think that's what the English people really need. You have a look at how France has reacted to just high taxes.
Yeah.
Now, fair enough. Some people say it's an overreaction. Maybe. I don't think it is personally. But if that's what they would do over taxes, why the fuck are we taking a rogering, so to speak, to use an old British term, from our government by saying that they asked us for a mandate, we gave it to them, and they said, nah, fuck you, you're too thick to know what you want.
Right.
Because that's the argument that they use for people that voted for Brexit. They didn't know what they wanted, they still don't know what they wanted, and now that more information has come to light, we need to vote again.
Yeah. I.e., until they get the decision that they want, they're just going to keep pulling the same crap. They're just going to change how it looks. Otherwise, it's too goddamn obvious. I mean, Eve, let's be fair. I will admit, Britain is no longer the Britain that I am proud of, to say the least. But hopefully, we still have a backbone. It would be nice if we did.
I don't think it is. I mean, I don't see how the Conservatives themselves could have voted in more confidence to what Theresa May was when she first started. That tells you that it's under a delusionary point. Because if at the beginning of her term, nobody really knew what she was and what she was doing, but people were really ready to give her a chance, then surely that she would have actually have got more of a confidence vote than what she had done now. But now that people are actually lost confidence in her, somehow she's got one more vote, which is important because it means that she's got more than what she had before.
Yep.
That support her now. There must be an underlying reason for that. It can't just be because, oh yeah, we need to support Theresa May because we need to support Theresa May. There's a reason for that. There has to be a reason for that.
We hope, yeah. So, any of you lot out there that want to come in and chat, Hangout link is in live chat. Please pop in. Let's hear exactly how disgusted you are with what's going on.
Well, to be fair, I would really like to have either Cabbage come in, or I'd really like to have Mad Dodge come in. The reason why is because I would like to have Mad Dodge's perspective from being an American and looking at how crap our democracy is, and I do mean that literally.
Oh, yes.
And obviously, Cabbage is probably worse than me when it comes to cussing down people that fuck around with democracy.
Yeah, that would be I have to admit, come on, Cabby, get your ass going, pop in, let's hear your opinion. It's not like you to want to keep your opinion quiet, sir. Nothing won't.
I do find this very, very, very sad.
Yeah.
Not just because it's Theresa May and I dislike her as a person and I think she's a lying slut, but because I honestly had the hope that she was going to go, and to actually have the hope of having somebody actually have a democracy in a westernized civilization. Now, you've got so many Americans that claim, in general, not people that are in here, but in general, that America doesn't have a democracy. Be so happy that you do.
Yeah.
Be so happy that you can complain to your senator, that you can complain to your congressperson, and you can get shit fucking done. Where we can't. Where we can have 52% of the population in the whole of the UK vote for something and still get screwed over and still not have anybody stand up for us.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what's happening.
Voted for this. I mean, that's the worst part. We voted. She was voted in. I'm not necessarily going to say we voted her in, but she was voted in.
Well, actually, technically, she wasn't. I think that she was the better of two evils because it was between her and Corbyn.
True.
I would just like to thank you, Shirati. I will have a look at that. There's a couple there.
Yes. If you ask her for research, expect lots of links. She doesn't mess about.
Man, the reason why I was calling our glorious leader, Theresa May, a slut is because she's literally bending over and taking it from the EU. And her own political stances as well from our own home. And she's getting it from Vince Cable, she's getting it from the DUP, she's getting it from Nicola the Sturgeon, she's getting it from fucking Labour, she's getting it from the EU. In my eyes, she's a political slut.
Fair play. Yeah, well, you probably noticed Mad will pop in when his mother-in-law buggers off. Oh, very nice comment from B. Did your mother-in-law flying on a broomstick? Very subtle, B.
I don't think that's a very appropriate, young lady, especially considering that you're now a mother. Yes, what comes around goes around, tart face.
Oh, I'm going to enjoy this. Oh, well, the one bit of light in the darkness in front of us. Let's try not to go too moody.
Unfortunately, I don't really know what to say. I don't really know what to do. I mean, I wasn't going to be streaming for too long, so I was going to do the half an hour type of a stream, to be fair.
Yeah.
Simply because there's not really much to talk about, and I'm not really, as you can tell by the fact I haven't got camera on, I'm not really ready to stream, and I'm not really up to task at the minute. But it's what it is. I wanted to get this done because I really thought that we were going to witness history and actually have some form of democracy for a change. More for me, eh? More for me for being hopeful that we would actually have democracy.
Well, like you say, hopefully people are going to start doing political disturbances to make the government's life an absolute hell. That would be nice.
Well, the sad thing is that this is going to give Remainers so much more of a backbone to be able to say that the only thing that's going to stop Theresa May now is a people's vote. And as I said, people like me are going to support it.
Yeah. I mean, just the thought that we may have to replace her with Corbyn really makes my teeth itch. That's just a horrible thought, but if it means we get rid of her, it's got to be a good thing.
Oh, see, I wouldn't even be bothered if they got rid of her. It's more of a case of she just doesn't fucking listen to anybody.
Yeah.
Remember that she's got rid, or rather, two Brexit secretaries have actually resigned because of what her policies were. About the fact that she was dictating what the policies and what the negations were going to be. Yes, she's the Prime Minister. I understand that. But she hired a Brexiteer to do the negotiations on good faith for her. And yet, every time that there's been a negotiation or a deal been struck up or theorized, there's been somebody that's fucking resigned. If that doesn't say to you as a person, as a leader, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
I think Imperious Rex has actually made an extremely valid point. She has played the long game well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a case that she's played the long game well. I would actually say, and honestly say this, that people like Jacob Rees-Mogg and Boris Johnson did not have the fucking balls or the backbone to do this fucking weeks ago or months ago when they fucking resigned and when Jacob Rees-Mogg was coming out and saying that she's not going to negotiate on good faith. Now, I'm not saying that either of them two should have come fucking leader, but if they were going to push for this, why the fuck did they wait to so close to the end of the actual negotiation period, to the deadline? Not unless that was for show all along in the first place. And it pains me to say that.
Yeah. They wonder why we have no faith in our political systems anymore. No, can't see why. Not like that they're not the most trustworthy of people, now is it? Let's be fair. Oh well.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, unfortunately, a couple of people on the internet are not going to fucking do anything. We're not going to change anything. But that's what the internet is supposedly for until Article 13 comes into play. We are supposed to be allowed to vent our opinions and vent our frustrations. But yeah, didn't go very well when everybody started venting their frustrations, did it? Self-preservation and money decided to keep politics at bay and democracy at bay rather than actually be democratic and follow the will of the people. Every single one of the Conservatives should be slung out.
They should be in. You know what? I know it's become a bit of a trite meme, but shame. That is how I feel about our political parties nowadays. They need to be shown that they are doing it wrong. They are not the will of the people. The people are.
Yep, I agree. I do agree. May has come out and just done a speech saying that we need to get on with Brexit. I am going to play it so everybody can listen to it and to stop me from shouting and screaming at everybody. Oh, I see that they've got... Hang on, you can't fucking see what I'm doing.
Yep.
Otherwise, that's going to go very well, isn't it? Right. To that. Being an angry boomer does not help in this situation. So, presenting to everybody, as you can tell, Miss Salisbury is Salisbury, or whatever a fucking name, I don't give a fuck. Is there, and so is the other Remainer that's there, that is supposed to be a Conservative. Both of these two are supposed to be Conservatives. Hang on, sorry. Hang on. Right. Let's listen.
Day, but at the end of it, I'm pleased to have received the backing of my colleagues in tonight's ballot. Whilst I'm grateful for that support, a significant number of colleagues did cast a vote against me, and I've listened to what they said.
Yeah, you couldn't suck all their
Following
dicks.
this ballot, we now need to get on with the job of delivering Brexit for the British people and building a better future for this country. A Brexit that delivers on the vote that people gave, that brings back control of our money, our borders and our laws, that protects jobs, security and the union, that brings the country back together rather than entrenching division. That must start here in Westminster, with politicians on all sides coming together and acting in the national interest. For my part, I've heard what the House of Commons said about the Northern Ireland backstop, and when I go to the European Council tomorrow, I will be seeking legal and political assurances that will assuage the concerns
Oh, that was a bit of come up.
have on that. But while delivering Brexit is important, we also need to focus on the other issues that people feel are vital to them, that matter to them today. The issues
Today.
that we came into politics to deal with. building a stronger economy, delivering first-class public services, building the homes that families need. We owe it to the people who put us here to put their priorities first. So here is our renewed mission: delivering the Brexit that people voted for, bringing the country back together, and building a country that truly works for everyone.
So that's what the bitch had to, I mean, that's what the Prime Minister had to say. Me personally, I didn't believe a fucking word that she said.
Agreed.
Not a word that she said. Apart from the fact that she didn't even memorize what she was going to say, because it was obviously that wasn't spoken from heart, because she hasn't got one. But it's a case of she's trying to say that she's trying to deliver Brexit, but at the same time that she doesn't want to focus on Brexit. This is what I mean by talking from both sides of your mouth, trying to appease both sides, as in trying to say, well, no, we're going to look at the situation that is in our own country, but we're going to look at Brexit as well. You can't look at your own country and decide what you're doing with your own country and services if you're not focusing on Brexit. Because how, even by your own standards and even by my standards, how can you decide what you're going to do in the future if you don't know what you're doing with around about, what is it, 200 and something billion pound a year that goes to, I think it's 258, if I'm correct. 258 billion pound a year that goes to the EU. And no, that's not net. That is what goes to the EU a year from us. What could we do with that? What could we do with that? NHS being refunded again, being able to be sorted, actually putting people back into housing and actually letting them buy them houses or giving them social housing in general, whatever way is best for everybody. Being able to find out what services, putting police back onto the street, putting a doctor back into fucking villages again, rather than making people travel 30 miles so they can go see a doctor. Actually putting services back onto the streets again. Yes, there is a reason why I'm this annoyed at Conservatives in general, because they're supposed to play for the middle. They're supposed to play for the idea of privatization, but also keeping the status quo still in place. They're not doing that. They're decimating our services by restricting the money flow and the situations that are going on. And in the way that they could be saving money, as in going away from Brexit, as in going from the European Union, they would be able to get so much more money and being able to trade globally rather than trade from the EU. One of the arguments that I've always hated from fucking Remainers is that, oh, you're just Little Britain. You just want to talk about this situation or that situation. You just want to be able to... Conservatism doesn't equal middle. I didn't say that it equals middle. Conservatization or conservatism is the preservation of the status quo.
Yeah.
By the way, Mad, I'm sure that you would know that without going in and attacking the chat. But that's what conservatism is. It's conserving the status quo.
Oh, well.
It's what it is.
Yep.
It's what it is.
Basically, yet again, our governments have let us down. Why? Genuinely, and I actually mean this question both to the people watching and to you, why do we even bother voting nowadays? It makes no difference. It really doesn't.
I really don't know why conservatism... I'm fucking lost. I've gone. I don't know what I'm doing. Boomer's doing everything. He doesn't know. But no, conservatism is actually the point of status quo and preserving the status quo. That's why people change. After all, the Lib Dems are supposed to be centrist, supposed to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm just annoyed at Theresa May, and I'm just annoyed at her government. It's just so wishy-washy. Whether you think that conservatism is centrism, or if it's right-wing, or regardless, Theresa May's government is more left-wing than what Labour was.
Yeah.
back when Tony Blair was in charge.
I tell you what would be interesting to find out is what UKIP think about this. Be interesting to see what their response is going to be in the morning.
I'm going to be very interested in Nigel Farage's response, personally.
Fair.
Well, the reason why is because I think that he can generate more of a ruckus or more of a noise-making exercise than Gerard Batten. I like Gerard Batten. I do like Gerard Batten, but I do think not necessarily going to go well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go well at all. I would say, Liquid Pluto, that I do think that UKIP's numbers will grow. People will see this as a spit in the eye for conservatism, whatever way you want to define it. Even if it is just because of English or whatever, centrism or whatever. People will look at the way that the Conservatives have treated Brexiteers in general and just gone, fuck you, and go to UKIP. In actual fact, as far as I'm aware, another 2,000 or 3,000 have joined UKIP about, what was it, about 2-3 weeks ago, I think it was, when they had to look at it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think it was, though I'm sure Sargon will come out and say that it was him that did it, but I don't think it is. I would say that it's the way that Gerard Batten's are going about his stuff, and also say it's probably an increase about Tommy Robinson supporters, even though people said that having Tommy Robinson wouldn't help. Personally, I don't think it would do. I think that, unfortunately for Tommy Robinson, he comes with too much baggage to be an official member of UKIP.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he can't speak with them or work with them, but I don't think that he should be an official member, simply because they can be attacked over it. Not because I don't like Tommy Robinson, I do. I think Tommy Robinson does a hell of a lot of good work.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at the way that it looks to people that you need to change their minds. You have to change their minds first before they can accept people, because today we're reactionaries, regardless of what side you are on the political scale.
Yeah. Well, literally just before your stream, I was watching a thing that Tommy Robinson put out as a premiere. Apparently he's calling for another march, basically in the next few days, just to really hammer home to the government how we really feel. Not that they give a damn, but, you know, it would be good if they actually looked out of their goddamn windows and realised, no, the people are not happy with the way things are going.
Exactly. But the thing is, they know this. The Sky News know this. BBC News knows this. Westminster know this. The Westminster bubble know that outside of London, most places in England, the demographics shift a little bit when it goes to Ireland, though it's a lot closer than people think. And obviously up in Scotland, which is another thing that I really don't fucking understand with Scotland. Now, the reason why I say that is because they have every right to disagree with the idea of Brexit. They have every right to disagree with it. But the people that do disagree with Brexit are Scottish nationalists. Let that sink in for a second. They're the ones that want to separate from our political union, but call us racist for separating from the Europeans' political union.
Then again, let's be completely honest. The use of the word racist no longer means what it originally meant. It's now just a new buzz term.
I agree. I completely agree. I was just saying that that's the word that they use. So by their own definition, when they call Brexiteers racist, because they're getting rid of the political union for their own nationalistic goals, doesn't that mean that their definition of whatever it is racism means to them apply to them when they say for that reason?
You'd think that, wouldn't you?
I suppose that takes self-awareness, though.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm not normally like this. I'm just a little bit angry. I completely and utterly had the idea of hope. And because I had hope, it got dashed. And because it got dashed, I'm more angry at me for having the idea of hope than what's actually happened.
Understandable, mate. It really is. We almost actually had our country back to being, at least attempting to be close to the Great Britain that we once knew. And it's all gone again. Oh joy.
Well, somebody was talking to me about Brexit beforehand, and they were saying, what would you think that Churchill would have done? Considering that Churchill was one of the first British prime ministers in general to sign up for the idea of a NATO or UN style system.
Yeah.
And I said to him, well, if it was in this situation and it was to give up political sovereignty, the way in which that he fought, or not him personally fought in the Second World War, but he fought the people to fight in the Second World War, then he would be against it. In fact, most real leftists, it's the reason why Jeremy Corbyn will never give you a proper view on Europe, because he doesn't want them to have the government, them to have the power. He wants the power to be able to have his socialist utopia.
Yeah.
And if the reason why he doesn't want to be part of the European Union, he's said it before. I think he said it about 5-6 years ago, which was that he wouldn't be able to implement the nationalizations in which he would want, because it wouldn't be a nationalization because Europe would control it.
Yeah. I can't trust Corbyn. He said some stuff and it just absolutely appalled me. I cannot trust that dude. I just want him to go away, okay? I don't wish ill will on the dude. Just go away and let someone else take over. He is not going to be good for our country. Hell, I'm not saying Theresa May is good for our country. In fact, I'm actively stating she is a really, really bad thing. But he grinds my gears, to use a term that the Americans like to throw around.
Oh, the thing is with Jeremy Corbyn is he's wishy-washy. He will say one thing 5 years ago and then he will change it now he's in power. The thing is, people say, oh, he's just a normal bloke. No, he's not. He's not working class. He has never been working class. He has been earning around 70k a year since he was around about 24, 25, when he first started becoming a backbencher and was part of his constituency. He has never done an actual day's work in his life. Now, it doesn't mean that I really care. It's just a portrayal, or should I say the way that he gives off his persona. It's just, with Jeremy Corbyn, he tries too hard to be working class. Then you get somebody like Tommy Robinson, who is completely and utterly working class to the core, and even to the fact, even though people would say he's a banker, even Nigel Farage is as working class as you could get as somebody in politics.
Yeah.
I mean that. It's one of the reasons why I used to like John Prescott. Not because of his policies, don't get me wrong, not because of his fucking policies, but because he was down to earth.
Yeah.
You threw an egg at him, he would punch you in the face.
Yeah. You gotta like that.
Exactly. That's the reason why I absolutely loved. I loved John Prescott. I didn't love John Major. See, the thing is, when people say, "Oh, you're a conservative," or "You're this," or "You're that," we polarize those people to those terms, rather than asking them why they feel the way that they do or what they feel the way that they do. And I think this is the idea of the way that Theresa May and her government's gone about this more, especially in the couple of years that she's been in charge, that identity politics has played so much more of a role than any other form of politics, because nobody really listens to what the policies are anymore. Nobody really goes over the manifestos apart from the opposition. Nobody really cares what's in them. They just go, well, I'm a Labour supporter, I'm going to vote Labour. I'm a Tory supporter, so I'm going to vote Tory. I'm Lib Dem, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's the way that this vote has gone for Theresa May. I want to keep in power. I want the Conservatives to keep in power. The only way we can do that is by keeping the same leader.
The thing is, that's not. She is patently bad for the country. I know that the MPs have, in their infinite wisdom, decided to let her stay, but she is bad for this country. Whatever happens, and I know I'm probably going to get laughed at for this, but I don't care. Whatever happened to the days when politicians actually worked for the people, you may begin your laughing now.
See, that's the thing, though. The idea of hope was there. And I think that's the reason why so many people were deflated. Yeah. I dare say defeated, but definitely deflated.
Yeah. You got to admit, there has to be a point where you see things going so badly, so often, where you do just want to give up. But unfortunately, we can't. If we don't fight, things are going to go even worse. And I know that's kind of hard to believe, but I can see it happening. It's just going to get worse.
Well, until the Brexit deal is actually finished and done and everything else like that, or is revoted and fucked off, there's still a chance that we can get our sovereignty back. There's still a chance that we can be an independent country again, which is the reason why I did have so much hope.
Yeah.
Because I wanted Theresa May to fuck off. I know that this is going to be a controversial stance. I would have preferred Cameron to be in charge still.
Wow.
The reason why I would have preferred Cameron to be in charge is, yeah, okay, he was from Eton, and yeah, okay, he liked a lot of pigs. But at least he was negotiating. Maybe I don't know the full story of it because I wasn't there in the rooms, but at least he was pretending to negotiate, or at least he seemed to negotiate on behalf of the country. And once he did realize that the EU and the UK wasn't on the same par, as in the EU trounced us in anything that we wanted that was against it, he did seem that he wanted to change it from the inside. Now, I think that's ludicrous to try and do as a one nation, but I think his heart was in a good place. It's just his mind was completely up his own arse.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I honestly think that May herself has done everything in her power to try and benefit Europe. If you look at every deal that's ever been struck, or the conception of a deal or arrangement, it's always benefited the EU. It is never once set to the red lines that she set before going into those negotiations. She has always given way. Hence why I call her a political slut.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Just take it from everybody and just lets everybody roll over her.
Well, we tried. I think that's the best thing I can. Literally, that is the only thing I can say. We tried. We failed, but we tried. What more can you really do?
Yeah, I suppose so. Right, well, to be fair, with that being said, apart from trying to go onto another tirade and screaming and shouting and crying and throwing shit, which is really what I want to do, but, you know, we're men, we don't do stuff like that. We repress and we go and hit punching bags.
Yeah.
Or in inanimate objects like wardrobes, depending on how old you are.
Yeah. I totally agree, mate. Normally I'd be, you know, more talkative, but after what we've just watched, you just kind of want to hang your head and give up. But we will not give up. This is still our country, until they fully hand it over with a big ass bow tied on top of it, I'm still going to try and hope that one day Great Britain will be Great Britain again.
Unfortunately, I don't see that happening, mate. I don't think that there's enough of us. I really don't. I know everybody always says you only need 10% for a revolution to happen, but I don't think that there's enough of us that are actually willing to do that. I don't think that I meant politically as well. There's not enough people that are willing to go down to a march in London. I mean, you look at the pro-Brexit march that was supposed to have happened down in London 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It was only 1,500 to 3,000 people that turned up. That's with Tommy Robinson. That's with Sargon of Akkad. That's with other people that were speaking there. Only 1,500 to 3,000 people turned up to demonstrate, to say that they wanted to have a proper Brexit.
People are getting sick and tired of it. That's the thing. It's the whole, why are we bothering? It's going to make no difference.
But that's the tactic.
The enemy's hands, I understand.
But that's the tactic, though, Quinn. And I know you're explaining what people think and not how you feel. But that's the tactic. If you keep on repeating something, it becomes truth. Yeah. So if you keep repeating the fear-mongering that's going on, people believe it. To the point when any serious person that is talking about Brexit, I do mean that literally, any serious people that do anything to do with statistics, that when they go, oh, well, we're not going to have medicine, we're not going to be able to have air travel, we're not going to be able to have this, there's going to be a traffic queue on the M20 all the way back to fucking Kent. No. Every single one says that's absolutely preposterous and absolutely lunatic to even think that. But yet, people do. I've had arguments, and I'm sure other people have done, or discussions with people that generally think that. They generally think that those issues are the ones that are the reasons why people should vote Remain again, or why we should remain, or why we should get a deal. It's annoying because the argument that was before Brexit, before the idea of all the fear-mongering back in 2016, was that the UN and the EU were the peacekeepers and the reasons why we haven't had any wars. The thing is, the EU has nothing to do with the UN. I know people go, what? But no, it's fucking true. The EU's separate to the UN. The UN and NATO are completely different bodies. They operate completely differently to how the EU does. Yes, there's EU countries that are in it, and yes, they have a say in it. But they are run by different people, and they have different objectives. So to us to leave the EU would not necessarily mean that we would leave NATO or the other one that I mentioned.
UN.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not necessarily going to argue that leaving the UN is a bad idea. In all fairness, that has definitely lived well past its useful date, and now, yeah, but no, because that's going on to a completely separate subject that can be discussed another time.
Yeah. Right. Well, I will leave it to the chat as we still have a couple of people watching us. Is there anything that you would like us to address, or what you think the news isn't addressing, and see what our opinions are? Or would you just like us to get the fuck off because we all need a drink? Let us know in the chat what you think and what you want us to do on that aspect. Because, you know, we have more of a democracy than what fucking our own government does. Because I'm literally asking you what you want me to do.
Hit 1 if you want us to piss off and go and have a drink. Hit 2 if you've actually got something to say. There you go.
And B, if you press 3, you're getting barred.
Yes, B.
I'll do it. I'll fucking do it. I will. I double dog dare you. Right, well, it seems that we've got a lot of responses from the chat. I do realise that it is around about 30 seconds behind, so I do understand that it is a little bit laggy for people. Well, I didn't say Shirati will get banned, so I can't ban her just yet.
No.
So you get a pass for the moment.
Time.
For the moment. But we will learn. We will all learn slowly. But I'm guessing that's what everybody wants us to do then. Everybody would want us to get off. If everybody's interested, and I'm sure that the Red Eye in itself will be on at 11 Greenwich Mean Time. That's Mad Dogs Productions channel. If you're not subbed to his channel already and you are to mine, if you go to the chat, you will see Mad Dogs Production as one of my moderators. Click on his name. It will take you to his channel. Subscribe to his channel and watch the Red Eye. If you want to see people arguing and bearing their soul, then that's where you need to go. If you want some structure, then maybe not for you. But it is a good show. Give it a watch. Give it a try anyway. It is quite interesting, and he does have a wide range of topics. So if you're not subbed to Mad Dodge, please go and do that now, if you so choose to. But with that being said, I think it's time for us to really get off and get gone. And yes, Shirati, I just love you. I don't love you for your researching capabilities or abilities, but I just love you. I just love you. Right, so Mr. Quinn, do you have any last words?
Down with Theresa May. Down with Europe. My final words.
I will mirror those points quite well. And honestly, the idea of democracy seems to be dying across every single European nation. If you're in Poland and you vote for a right-wing nationalist government, then you get sanctioned for it. If you're in Hungary, you get sanctioned for it. If you're in Romania, you get sanctioned for it. If you're in Austria, you almost get sanctioned for it. Now, if you're Italy, God damn it, if you're in Italy. It just seems that every time that any sort of form of democracy that doesn't fit with a prescribed notion or a prescribed idea seems to be completely and utterly hit on. And I don't mean hit on as in, oh, baby, I love the way you move. I mean, fucking die you couldn't. And that's what I see. This is what's happening in Brexit. You've got people like Owen Jones. And if you don't know who Owen Jones is, I salute you and I wish I was you. But you've got people like Owen Jones that come out and are saying that people that have voted for Brexit, that are going down for a march because Tommy Robinson is there, are all fascists. And yet doesn't understand that the definition of fascist, even though by the dictionary definition is a right-wing terminology, means that you favor big state, big government, and you favor a nationalistic identity. That's not Brexit. That's not Tommy Robinson. So how is that fascist? But then again, that's the same thing as people calling people that voted for Brexit racist and xenophobes. They're just buzzwords that are now thrown around. The same as I'm sure people that have been on this stream before and have heard of other things that have gone on, a paedophile being thrown around. And to quote a good guy called Memes, that is a substantial claim whenever given to anybody because of the size of the claim, not the size of the evidence. Now, with that being said, guys, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me rant and rave, and I appreciate Quint for coming on. But fuck it, I'm off to get drunk. See you guys later.
Bye-bye all.